Welcome back, everybody. Um, you were going to talk today in the second lecture about the prelude to Carmen. And that was what you listened to today in your listening assignment. So if you haven't done that yet, you're supposed to do the listening assignment first before you listen to the lecture. So we'll be talking about the prelude. Um, the preludes at first sounds it's very typical. Bizet, in fact, is playing into audience expectations for what a prelude should sound like. Most of them are in three parts: an A section, and then a contrasting B section, and then the A comes back for closure and symmetry. In fact, we do get the parade music here at the beginning. And then it switches gears for the B section, which is the Toreador song. And then the A comes back for closure in what sounds very much like the end of the prelude. So it has this kind of a big finish of a big loud last chord that sounds like it's over. But no, it's not over. Suddenly, out of nowhere, new music emerges that is literally outside of this ABA form. It's this new music we might label C, which has come to be known as the fate motive, kind of interrupting all the fun and games with this foreboding, almost really frightening music. In fact, this fate motive foreshadows Carmen's death at the very end of the opera. We hear it at the very end, just after she dies, at the conclusion of the opera. In fact, we've been hearing this this motive, this melody, all throughout the opera. We hear it actually the very first time we meet Carmen, as she's coming out of the cigarette factory underground. It plays real fast, so instead of ba dee da da dum, it's going to go ba da da dum, ba da da dum, but it's the same tune, just sped up. You hear it when Carmen gives Don Jose the flower. And finally, we hear it. It's the very first thing we hear when Don Jose sings his own aria, the so-called flower aria, about the flower that Carmen gave him um, at the beginning of the opera. All right, so a little bit about each section, kind of why the music behaves the way it does. You can tell the opening is parade music because it's in a pattern of two. No signs need to be held up telling us we could march to this. We could march to it. It's in this march rhythm pattern of two beats. 1, 2, 1, 2. The Toreador song then switches gears, and it's in a meter or a rhythmic pattern that's much more common in songs, generally speaking. It's very, very common in popular music, by the way, that we're familiar with today, and it's in 4. So a pattern of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So about the fate motive, this is all this music is fun and it's exciting and everything, but the fate motive really grabs our attention. And what makes it grab our attention is that it's in has a sound that we're not used to hearing in Western music. It uses a particular interval. When I say interval, it's the space between two notes, not in time, but in musical space. So from here to here is what we call a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a fifth. So it uses this interval called the augmented second. It doesn't exist in Western scales at all, but it does. It is very common in various cultures in the Middle East, and it sounds like this. It's sort of like if you take the Western minor scale. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum. Those notes, if I alter one of them, to da 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 dum. So this ba da dee da dum be da da dum is this augmented second. So the fact that it sounds very non-Western is what gives it this exotic sound, this strong element of otherness. Carmen embodies this sort of menacing character from the outskirts of society, gives her this kind of menacing, threatening quality. But just like the character herself, it's mesmerizing. It's unforgettable. Once you hear that interval, ba ba da dee dum, it leaves such an indelible mark on your mind, and it's a perfect way to capture Carmen's character. So that's a little bit about the prelude. We will continue with this next week on Monday, but that is all for today. Still, just wanting to make sure that this is working for everybody. I hope your first week back with online work is going well. Contact me if you have any questions. But otherwise, I'll see you back again Monday. Have a good week.